again, all those people he just mentioned, I was going to do that. But the one thing about clinics is this. I've been to a lot of them. My first one was at the University of Tennessee. I saw Doc Crease many years ago there and Louis Simmons. But today, hopefully you get something out of this. There's a bunch of young guys here today. I want you to understand something. There's a lot of people sell equipment. There's a lot of people sell racks. But what Hammer Strength's done for me is this. They've helped my athletes. They've helped me. I've had a chance to speak at a lot of these things, and I've gotten more out of them myself than actually getting, hopefully, than I've given, I think. But to be around Boyd Epley, to sit with him in Houston for about 3 hours and pick the godfather of strength and conditioning and during the draft. I mean, it was this weekend many years ago in Houston. I'm sitting there drinking a beer with Boyd Epley. I mean, I'm pinching myself and because of Hammer. But what these guys do, and Chris said it, they just don't sell racks. They sell a relationship. And they try to help you build your room for what you need. These men unloaded a whole 18-wheeler out here to put up here, to showcase their stuff, to let you understand that they can help your athletes, your schools, your administration do great things. And they give a lot of their time to us. And to fly in Coach Yancey McKnight and Kaz and those guys, everybody's not doing that for you. And I'm so blessed to have my staff here a part of this. I've had numerous guys that work for me. A lot of guys are in this room that's work for me. But the guys are with me right now, and Zach Reed was with us at Georgia Tech. He's here today. Took time. They had their game last night. Couldn't make it over here. But Curtis Turner is back here. He's been with me since as a student at Clemson University. Alex Darenthal's been with me at Tech. He interned for me. He's full-time with me here at Georgia State. Kobe Kramer here does a tremendous job. He's been here for 4 years at Georgia State. Does an outstanding job with us. Corey Magwood came with me from Georgia Tech over here as well. He played at Furman University. Will Bryan played at Georgia Tech for me. These guys are doing a tremendous job. Another young man named Dan Sutton is with me right now, who's now with football. They all came with me to Georgia State. Matt Hickman, obviously, who's with me at Georgia Tech and at Furman everywhere. So I got other guys. Tommy Chadwell was a high school guy in high school, working for us at Vanderbilt. So we got a lot of guys in the room that's helped me a lot. And not just those guys, but many more. But I wouldn't be here without a lot of other people. And, again, my background is kind of Furman University with Coach Batson in 1993. I was a head strength coach when I was 23 years old. I made $1,200 with Coach Batson. And like he said, 3 hots of the cot, it was that. But I was a Division I strength coach. I was working with athletes. I just walked the stage, went to Furman University, won a national championship in 1988. They beat me when I played at Western Carolina. We had a closet of the weight room, as Coach said, but it's not always how big a church you have. It's the people in the church, right? So you have a lot of stained glass and all those things, and I use that analogy a lot, but it's the people in the room. It's the belief. And we're going to build a nice room here. And we got to make sure we do a lot of, the effort's got to go with that new room. So going to Western Carolina, I made $16,000. I think we had 18 sports and had no help. I had a couple of young guys that GA'd for me. Coach Batson went to Clemson. He called me if I asked me. They didn't have but one, he was the only, Coach Wade was the head strength coach, had all GAs. They let him bring 2 people in, me and Coach Mendoza. Ruben Mendoza was at Chattanooga. I was at Western, Joey's at Furman. Half the Southern Conference goes to Clemson together. So, because we knew Joey's vision. And got a chance to go there. I said, went to Vanderbilt. We were playing in Boise. Met Coach Pittman there in the weight room. We were using their weight room. And I know he wasn't happy we were there because they should have been there because they won their league and he had a chance to play in their championship game when we were using their turf in their weight room. And while I was there, Bobby Johnson, I called him to congratulate him about getting a job at Vanderbilt. And he asked me, are you willing to come to Vanderbilt? I said, Coach, I'll leave right now. I'm not playing Saturday. I'd love to come and work for you. Went out there and he hired me, got a chance to be there for 9 years. And then went to Furman for a little bit, back for a year and a half. Another great time there. We redid the weight room with Coach Chris Dantzler, redid the whole place. Then went to Georgia Tech with Paul Johnson. And he got a chance to go right up the road here about 2 exits away and be there and work with some great kids and have some great times, win some great games. But I've been very blessed. And how you get here is this, guys. The people that influence you in this business, obviously Coach Batson. He took me, didn't know me from Adam, and give me a chance to be with him and his wife and see their sons who he showed up there. I've been a part of their lives. Leo Totten with the Totten Train System, USAW weightlifting. We did that at Furman with him many years ago. Ruben Mendoza, who has been at Ole Miss, Notre Dame, and is now at Wayne State, a great friend. Mike Gentry. If you guys don't know Mike Gentry, you need to know Mike Gentry. He is a great friend of mine, a great mentor of mine. He's a Western Carolina graduate. That's where I went to school. He means a lot to me, and he means a lot to a lot of people. And the pride he instills in his athletes in that weight room is something I've always was aspiring to do, because anyone you worked that played for him realized to be what an iron hokey means. And when you say iron hokey, it means something because of Mike Gentry and what he's brought. Learn about him. Russell Patterson was with us at Clemson. He won the first national championship at App State. He went to Middle Tennessee State, took him to a bowl game, done a lot of great things, did a lot of innovations. We're at Clemson on our staff with Coach Batson. Tony Smith, who's been here with us today, he's at Duke University. When Noel does a phenomenal job, he's been at Tennessee, been at Gaffney High School, was the head strength coach at Florida Atlantic, been at Ole Miss. Been around a lot of great guys. David Abernathy played for me at Western Carolina. Tsunami Bar. He's been the director at Western Kentucky. He's been the director at Furman University. He's been assistant director at Clemson. Joe Ken, the Carolina Panthers. Obviously at Louisville, I got a chance to meet with Joe, do a lot of great things with Joe Ken, took a lot of things from him, like we all have. Kevin Yoxall, great man. Obviously had to play against him at Auburn. Still talk to Coach Yox today, has given me a great person that give me a lot of great things. Steve Waters from the Tennessee Titans, who just retired last year. Phenomenal coach, phenomenal man, did a great job, was the longest tenured coach in the NFL. He was assistant head coach as the strength coach. He came from an athletic trainer to the director of strength and conditioning for the Tennessee Titans. David Whitley, iron tamer, taught us kettlebells when I was at Vanderbilt. Through our baseball coach, who's a pitching coach for Cincinnati Reds. He was with us at Vanderbilt, the pitching coach, taught me into him. Louis Simmons. Joey Batson in 1993 was doing Louis Simmons stuff. Two people, Bill Gillespie, Joey Batson in the collegiate field. I was there when that was happening. Got a chance to be around all that. Very fortunate. And the guy that really has pushed me a lot through my career is Doc Crease. I've never worked for Doc Crease, but that first clinic, he had such a passion, from showing Rocky videos to that whole deal with Cordell Stewart and all those guys that were out there at Colorado. He was the head strength coach at Vanderbilt, Colorado, and UCLA. But I went to Vanderbilt 20 years later, and it's like the man never left. He touched so many people in the city of Nashville, Tennessee. That means his grasp of that city exuded that weight room. And at that level, that's huge. And so everybody said, man, you kind of remind me of Doc Crease. I'm like, well, that's kind of weird. That's kind of a guy I idolize in his patience, because the way he treated people, he cared about people. Well, that guy's a lawyer, John. You got to find this guy. You got to find this guy. This guy's going to come and see you. This guy's going to come and see you. You got to reach out to this guy. He let me know how to do some things that always don't happen. It takes a T-shirt. A T-shirt goes a long way in what we do, guys. A T-shirt. Somebody wants your logo that they can't buy. They really do. And that's huge. And it'll go a long way for you. Trust me. I bought $500 worth of extra T-shirts all the time. Doc says, have it in your car, have T-shirts. Because somebody's going to ask you for something, or you need a sled built, or you need something fixed, and you ain't got the budget, hand them a T-shirt. And trust me, when I was at Vanderbilt at that time, everybody wore the big power T. Now, I'm in Texas, it's Tennessee, so you got to hand out. I'm at the coffee shop handing out stuff all the time because they want to wear our stuff. So try to help them out. Reason why I got into coaching, Doug Brooks, my high school coach. There's a lot of high school coaches in here that have influence. Steve Hygen was hired me as a 23-year-old head strength coach. Keith LeClaire, baseball coach, passed away from Lou Gehrig's disease. Phenomenal baseball coach at ECU. Tommy West hired me at Clemson. Got a chance to work with Tommy Bowden. Jack Leggett took me to 2 College World Series at Clemson, baseball. Tim Corbin, the head baseball coach at Vanderbilt. Great friend. I helped him get hired at Vanderbilt. They're doing a great job. Tim does a phenomenal job. Got a chance to work with Robbie Caldwell at Clemson. He's an O-line coach. He worked with him at Vanderbilt. He was a strength coach before Coach Batson ever got to Furman. He was O-line coach, strength coach. Paul Johnson teaches a lot of toughness. What we do, the triple option was a lot of fun to work guys with. Weight room meant a lot to those guys up front that cover the line of scrimmage. So there's a lot of people up there I don't have up there, but there's a lot of people who have influenced my career and my athletes I work with. So what I want to talk about today, I played offensive line. I didn't play quarterback, obviously. But these guys right here, you look at the draft. First guy in the draft last year, first guy on the draft this year. These guys are field generals. And there's an old poster, a lot of you guys don't know it. There's a poster called Field Generals, a Nike poster that had cleats called Field Generals. And there's a picture of Dan Fouts, I think Randall Cunningham's on it, Archie Manning's on it, before Peyton and Eli became, but they're all on this poster, and they're all wearing these leather jackets. Now they're looking at these like a field general. And I kind of took that concept from these guys because these guys orchestrate a lot of things. They control a lot of different things. And today I'm talking about maybe a little bit more football than just strength and conditioning, because we all bench, squat, and clean, do a lot of those things. But how to get these guys to play at a high level when they're coming into your program. And obviously Georgia's got a great quarterback up there. Clemson's got one that's very young. There's a lot, and Coach Noel Durfee's worked with two Mannings. He coached both those guys, Peyton, Eli, and he just had a first-round draft pick, Daniel Jones, which I thought was one of the better quarterbacks we've played in a long time. And that guy was unbelievable during the warm-up. Trust me, I watched him. I was like, that dude looks a lot like Peyton and Eli. And Coach had a good analogy. He's kind of a cross of both. He is. He's going to be a phenomenal player for the New York Giants. So I was excited to see him get drafted. So a lot of guys in this room have had a lot of big-time players drafted. So, you know, I'm not the guru on quarterbacks. I'll tell you what we've done and what I like to do with them. But this young man's the guy I got right now. And he's a hard worker. And all our quarterbacks are here. And I like training the quarterbacks because if they're working harder, they got to be in front. I think our linemen will work hard. Because right now, you know, I went from a team that huddled. And you have control of that huddle, and the plays run in. Now it's all signals and stuff like that. We did a 117-play spring game out here. It was nonstop. Every practice every Friday practice this year, I think we did 112 snaps or more. So our guys are going fast. This guy has to lead a bunch of people in a short amount of time. And where do you find those ways to do that? We're trying to talk about that a little bit and some ways we try to give him opportunities. But he was a junior college player. His name's Dan Ellington. Does a great job for us in the weight room. It means a lot to him. All our quarterbacks, it means a lot to him. And he's again, from Mississippi. And these are some of the things I think you got to enrich. The following: strength, speed, power, flexibility, mental strength, which is toughness, obviously, the physical preparedness, leadership, skill development, competitiveness, and nutrition. Now, I didn't come up with all of them by myself, okay? I coached a first-round kid named Jay Cutler back in the day. He was 185 when he came to Vanderbilt, left 225. Joe Hamilton, he worked with us at Georgia Tech. He's in the Hall of Fame, won a Super Bowl, probably one of the best quarterbacks I competed against as far as a competitor. I asked Joe, I said, Joe, what are some attributes of a quarterback you think? Because he prepares young men to be quarterbacks. He coaches them right now, and he said, and he signed his name to it. Whatever he wrote down at Joe Ham, and that's what he stood by. And these things I think you have to work at, and we can work in the weight room on in our off-season program, in-season program, and throughout the whole year. We have a new offensive coordinator here. There's 7 new coaches here at Georgia State. Brad Glenn's our offensive coordinator. There's 5 quarterbacks at the FCS level that have thrown for 2,000 and 1,000. He's coached 3 of them. I coached the first one in Division I football, Woodrow Dantzler, that threw for 2,000 and rushed for 1,000. So between us, we got a few guys that we've worked with. His quarterback evaluation is this: process information quickly. How fast can he see the field, go through progression? Anticipate eye transition. Does he have high football IQ? Can he play off script? Competitive instinct. Is he a winner? Does he have a blue-collar, gritty work ethic? Is he poised? Is his best in high-pressure situation? Is how he performs in practice as important as how he performs in the games? Does he love the game? I think that was brought up a little bit. Does he love the game? Vision. Can he see movements? What is the peripheral vision like? Does he have to stare things down to see them? Calm eyes. Accuracy. Does he naturally balance the line himself? Does he have an off-balance accuracy? Does he have arm talent? Deliver catchable balls to all parts of the field. Athleticism. Does he make people miss? Can he extend plays in the pocket? Is he good in space? Quickness, suddenness. Can he accelerate and finish? Does he play other sport? Arm strength. Does the ball jump out of his hand? Can he make all the throws? Throw without laces. And that's one thing, throwing out laces, I never thought about. When Rich Rodriguez came in, Woodrow had to get the ball out of his hand so quickly. And I never really thought nothing about it. And there's a picture in ESPN, the magazine. First picture, he's in a spread, and he's throwing out the laces. So I started thinking, hey, this hand grip, you know, we got to work on a lot more grip stuff because it's got to come out so fast. And it's about tempo, and it's about timing. So those things that you look at. Let's see, arm strength, mechanic efficiency. Does he have a long release, long stride? Does he have a fast arm, tight arc? Does he keep a base? How long does the ball stay in his rifle box? Posture, setup. Toughness, mental and physical. Number one reason quarterbacks fail is lack of mental toughness. All the great ones have this. Social media. Does he have the trust and respect of his teammates and coaches? Can he win? Can he win? You can't win with a clown at quarterback. Check all social media for signs. Grades. Poor grades either show laziness or lack of intelligence. Okay? Leadership capability. The captain class by Sam Mark 16 Dynasty, the most crucial ingredient was the character of the player that that led the team. So that's Coach Glenn's evaluation of a quarterback. So as a strength coach, I've got to work to help him define those with our guys we already have and help him look at those things when they come in the door, okay? I think this is a great one he gives. It's kind of like a glacier, right? Iceberg. The physical skills, the stuff you can see, right? The speed, the arm talent, the agility, the delivery, the quickness, the strength and size. All the intangibles, the stuff you can't see when you see them, all right? Discipline, urgency, credibility, awareness, mental toughness, preparation, decision-making, spontaneity, resourcefulness, perseverance, the attitude, intelligence, instincts, resiliency, grit, character, confidence, poise, desire, humility, and leadership. There's a lot of things on there, right? There's a lot of things on there. And one thing you got to remember is when you're putting all your eggs in that basket, the first pick of the draft, a lot of them things better be defined pretty quickly. And it's going to be exposed, especially at the NFL level. College level, same way. Mechanically efficient, accurate catchable balls, off-balance accuracy, field presence, even kill. Fighter pilot mentality as a quarterback. Can't be up, can't be down. Love the game. Compete. Must have quickness, suddenness, ability to accelerate, intangibles, three-headed monsters, arm, feet, mind. So as strength coaches, we got to work towards that as best we can of what comes in the door. I'm not going to change a lot of those things. I can enhance some of those things. And as a strength coach, I got to be aware of some of those things because I can't always be doing the same thing the offensive line's doing, okay? To get the credibility with that kid, he's got to do some things a little differently to get him to play at a high level at that position because he's kind of like a pitcher in some instances. For me, the way I treat him, like baseball. But they're going to bench, they're going to squat, they're going to clean, no doubt about that. But doing that, we have to do some things that they have to earn the trust of their teammates who are doing some different things. So discipline, where does it start? For us, it starts to come in a meeting room. I think with a quarterback, it's got to start earlier than that. They have to do it all the time. We meet with our guys in the meeting room, and we jog them to the weight room. That's where it starts. And this off season, I think the big thing we want to do is a lot of accountability. I mean, during our dynamic warm-up, if the toes were, I want toes behind the line, coachable. If the toes over the line, it's 2 up-downs. So we spent 20 minutes, or the 20 up-downs just getting warmed up, just because of little things. So because if you don't set the precedence on the front, you're not going to get it later on. And if they miss the line, they miss the line. It's like, oh, don't warn them, we missed the line. It's like throwing a flag out there. You have a penalty. It's going to be implemented right there. So be accountable at all times. Accept coaching instruction. Focus on task at hand. Practice perfect habits consistently. Train to improve strength and self-control. Leadership development. I think a lot of these things, guys, it's leadership. It's also ownership. Set the tone by example. A lot of these kids do this already. They do it in their high school level, but when they get here, they're overwhelmed. They've been the guy for 3 or 4 years, and now they're starting over again because now they come in at 180 pounds and not 220 pounds, and they're having to start over. But they're supposed to be the guy. They're supposed to run our program. Demand the most of yourself and offensive teammates. I think that happens. I'm going to use a story, a Texas story that I heard from Donnie Mae years ago, is when Vince Young was at Texas and something was going on, and he wrote on the board, if you want to be at the Rose Bowl, be at the indoor at 7:30. Guess how many guys went to the Rose Bowl? Guess how many guys showed up at the indoor? The whole team. They went to the Rose Bowl, won a national championship. So I think those guys have influence. And if you get it earned, you can do it at a high level. And that's one thing Donnie told us at a clinic that I took. I think it's pretty impressive that that guy had that much influence on his teammates that they all showed up at 7:30 at night to do what they wanted to do to get what they want to get. Dedicate yourself to know all facets of the offense. Demand excellence and consistency from your receiving core, and that's hard to do because a lot of you guys don't want to show up. You know, it's like, I want to do this, I got this going on, I got this going on. But these guys at this position have to have that, and they have to have respect for their teammates. Like Coach says, they got to show up. That's part of the deal at Texas. You know, we're still trying to build that culture here. We've only been a team for only 10 years. So, and at Georgia Tech, they like to throw the football because they don't throw it very much. They used to option it. So they enjoyed doing 7-on-7 every day because that was fun because they had to do option plays and had to cut and flip the ball. They didn't throw it deep all the time. So throwing the ball every time, they had a good time doing it. Learn all facets of the offense, opposing defenses. I think that's critical. Lead all in-season and off-season training. Those guys have to be out front. They can't be in the back. They cannot do that, especially if you're running spread offense. Those guys have to be out front of the team. Skill development. Master ball handling drills. Coach Rod always had those guys out there doing ball drills. We did them with med balls in the weight room to simulate the same thing as smaller med balls to make sure their hands were on the ball before they went out on the field. Master footwork in the running game. They get lazy on this. You ask all of them. They have to do their footwork all the time. Carry out the fakes. Master footwork in passing game. 3-step, 5-step, 7-step. I got a video at the end I took from John Gruden, a conditioning drill that I'll show at the end. That again, I'm not a football coach, but the conditioning aspect I really like because when the guy said that this guy, I got crushed doing this because it's a skill development and it's something you can encourage the guys to do without having to make them do it because you can't be out there with football, right? Throw route progression to teammates. Include the running backs, lead all 7-7 drill work, develop trust. I think that's huge. And like Coach said earlier, you can ask them to do it. They got to want to do it. And in other places I've been, sometimes it's been scripted, and it's like they just go through it. Other places, they'll stay out there all day. And like Coach said, I think the catapult system is, you know how much they're doing, and if they're not doing enough, they're doing too much. Invest time in master film study. I think I brought that up a couple times. Work when no one's watching. I think that's the hardest thing these guys do. They think that they post stuff all the time, and I'm not a big fan of posting stuff all the time about yourself, posting about your teammates. We have an Instagram page just for our team. We don't share a lot of that stuff outside our team. We want stuff to go straight to our guys, so our gram is for our guys. I'm not boasting what we do, how we do it, what we're doing in the weight room. It's just what our guys want to see each other, so we want to share stuff with our guys about nutrition and stuff. Sleep or anything, we just do it within our team. So we don't send it outside the room. So that's kind of stuff that we share with our dudes. This is Justin Thomas, quarterback from Alabama, who did a great job for us at Tech. Fast kid. I think he ran like a 4.37, under 4.4 his pro day. Did a phenomenal job for us. Won the Orange Bowl when Mississippi State had Dak Prescott. Very fortunate to get after those guys that night, and he did a great job in that game for us. Compete within yourself and your teammates. I think the competition part is, and don't set it up so they're successful. I mean, they've been successful a lot of their career already. Make it where it's hard on those quarterbacks. They have to overcome something. It shouldn't be easy for them. Train to be the best in the country. I think that's something we all try to do. And again, you got to work on the drive to be the best must leave your campus. I think that's the biggest thing because a lot of guys like being the best where they're at. In high school, junior high, whatever, they don't see the forest for the trees. To be the best in the country, guys don't have that vision in front of them. If you put it out there for them, yeah, I want to go to college, or yeah, I want to go to the NFL, I think you need to put it out there for them further and how to get there and how to sustain it. And this position is very hard. There's a lot of pressure at this position. Factors affect quarterback leadership. I think the biggest one, this is the one that, to me, I know there's a lot of things, but the no-huddle offense, the tempo, where they find the time to lead their other teammates. The offensive line are over here. They come together. They leave. And so there has to be a personality, a trait of those kids when they leave us in the dorm, in the facility, and all those kids don't have that ability. And there's ways to do that. You have to help those kids figure out who they are. And I think that's something I'm always looking to do. And I think I never have it mastered. A lot of things I found out today I'm going to try to implement here, but I think it's fun to work with. Speed, agility, conditioning. Again, being the best conditioning team, I think, that comes from my mindset with Coach Bassett. Everything we did when I was there was no huddle tempo. You got to go fast. You got to get them stronger. You got to get them faster all the time. But being conditioned, you can control your conditioning. You can't always be the fastest, strongest guy, but you can be in shape. And we're going to work to always be in shape to do those things. Compete in all drills to be the fastest skilled athlete on the team. I think as a quarterback, depends on how big the kid is. But they need to push themselves to be competitive in the drill work. Not just rely on their arm, okay? Never bend over condition. That's the worst thing I hate. I think Coach Hickman had a good thing about putting their hands up. I kind of like that. But that's the worst thing I think could happen is seeing guys bend over. I can't stand it. It pisses me off more than anything. So that's one thing definitely that we always harping on. Don't have to do a lot of it here. You guys do a good job with it, but it's always something we try to make sure we're coaching. Nutrition, body composition, I think we're always, and we've been talking about you here the whole time. When you come up last, everybody's talking about nutrition. I think it's something that we have to work a lot here on. We'll be a little bit better when they're right across the street. They're building a new place right across the street. We'll have those guys a little bit closer to where we are. So I'm still trying to wrap my arms around, how that looks like and what I need to do as a strength coach to help our guys recover and also enhance them. The fueling needs, achieve and maintain body comp. Throughout the season, bod pod, obviously the calipers, utilize fueling station to help maintain the performance. That's something we're going to implement a nutrition room in our weight room down there when we get done with it here this May. Always remember you can't outtrain a bad diet. I mean, I know Zaxby's is up the road. The Zax sauce is good. They tweet out pictures going here, going there, and you have to educate them. And I think it's, you always say with a nutrition piece, you have to take it, it's like bathing. You got to work at it every day because they're going to eat what they're used to eating, right? What mama makes, grandma makes, what's at home, or what's not at home, what's not available to them. I think you heard a couple of guys that I had one meal. That kid's got to come in. So we got to help those guys understand what their needs are. If we're going to make them think fast in a chaotic state, play in a very pressure position, make sure they're going at a high level and not just rely on their athletic ability, their God-given talent. The strength part, stuff we're going to talk about a little bit more, they clean, squat, and bench, and neck. I think the big thing, I do all the neck work on the quarterbacks. I take them through all that myself to know where they are, what their needs are. On the clean, I don't rack those guys in season if they're playing. If they're traveling, they're throwing the ball, that's their money. Just like basketball, I don't rack a clean during the season. If I'm not coach, I stay off that. Especially at Georgia Tech, we did a lot of triple extension stuff. Guys were diving on the ground in triple option. How much more triple extension do you need when you're doing that the whole game for 70 to 90 plays on Saturday? So with these guys, that's their money. If you're a pitcher, we had the first pick in the draft. We didn't have to, David Price, we didn't have to do a lot of cleans with him. But they will squat, they'll back squat, they'll front squat. If we do Zerchers, they'll Zercher squat. They'll do the pitch shark. If a guy's in the quarterback's based on how much volume they're doing and how much run they're doing. Dan runs pretty good in our offense, what I've seen so far, and he'll be relied on to run. But we'll see how he feels, and it's going to be week to week, or how he's beat up, and get him ready to go and get any of those guys ready to go. So you got to max out every Saturday, right? So you got to get them to game day. So working backwards from that, like everybody said, going forward, it's always Sunday's our squat day. So we always work that day and work forward with it. Supplemental lift, physio ball training, core lifts, doing physio presses, kettlebell training, dumbbell, single limb training. I'm big into kettlebells. I love them. I think it's good for grip, core strength, especially for quarterbacks, and it challenges them. It's not easy. And I think these guys, you can always progress it and make it harder and harder. But med ball training, I ain't show a lot of videos of that. A lot of guys do it. We do it, obviously. I like doing stuff on the backside. If you're right-handed quarterback, you throw so much on one side of your body, just like a kicker. I like going 3-to-1 on the backside, doing med balls and sledgehammers. I'll show some of that stuff. But I like doing a lot of stuff on the backside with those guys just to create balance because they throw one side of their body so much. Same way with baseball players. Sledgehammers, barge rope. Everybody does the heavy ropes. Mace bell training. I like the mace bells. I like the Indian clubs. I do like a flush with the Indian clubs when they get done the upper body training with those guys. It takes a little bit of coordination. It's hard for them. Do it on single leg. I like doing the Indian clubs again just as a recovery for our guys when they get done doing upper body training. Arm carry, grip strength. I think with Dan this past winter, seeing him, working with him, you see those guys every day. And how we train, I'll tell you kind of how we train. very fortunate. We do our training in the morning. So our bigs go at 6 a.m. all off season. They're there every day at 6 a.m. Our mids trained at 7:45. Our skill guys trained at 9:30. So the coach, we have 16 racks. We'll have 16 racks here. Coaches are spread out. We all have 4 racks apiece, spread out through the room with our full-time guys, and then we'll have our GAs and interns intermingled with that. We try to watch the same guys in the same rack every day, so the quarterbacks are in the front with me. They're in the front, putting those guys in the front of the room so everybody can see them guys train. Kind of in the new room, it's going to look a little different. So if you put them in the in rack, they'll be far away one anyway. So we're going to put them, I'm decided to put those guys in the middle when they come in to train, so all those guys can see them. So to see what they're doing. So it may be some different stuff than some other guys doing since I have them in there when we have the skill guys in. So we all train the bigs, we all train the mids, we all train the linemen, the D linemen, the tight ends. But when the skill come in, I'll have running backs and quarterbacks with me primarily, with a few receivers with us. So that's kind of why I train the quarterbacks. But tubing, post-practice, rice buckets, we have, they had those in there previously. I love those things. Our kids get in there all the time. I think it's immeasurable to get in there and use those, not just to strengthen, but for recovery. Your offensive linemen get beat up, they're pulling hands, and we had our backup quarterback, Jack. He bruised his hand throwing a football, and all throughout spring, he never had a glove on. He had to wear a glove to throw the ball, and we started doing some movement stuff in the rice to open his hand up to get some more blood flow in there to help him recover so he could throw the ball in the spring, and I think it helps him a little bit. So I enjoy using the rice. I kind of took that from Uwe when he was with the 49ers to help those guys recover, and using ropes for guys with shoulders on on Mondays to help guys recover, get some blood flow in there. Same way with the rice. When you're holding, pulling guys, tugging on guys, their hands get beat up. So getting their hands in the rice, not to grip, but just open up their hands to get some extension in there in their fingers so they can get recovered so they can hold again on Saturday, right? Upper body pressing, we just bought 16 neutral grip bars from, and so we're using those now. A little different. This is something I took a number of years ago from Louis Simmons. If it'll play, I don't know if it'll play. Yeah, it's going to play. We're hanging the kettlebells on there. So this is the first time these guys did this past week. So we'll have the kettlebells hanging off the side. So we're going to work a lot of stabilization there. Good punch. This is Dan. You see us going there. That's the first time he's ever done it. So a lot of things that you'll see with these guys, the first time they've ever done. Next one is a bell-up kettlebell press. And you see this, Dan's right-handed. So he's kneeling, glute firing. So he's going to be doing a little press here. Big Mag's in the background, make sure you don't mess up. We're watching him like a hawk. So on this one, left-handed. That left hand ain't that good. And I give Dan a hard time when I got there. His grip wasn't very good. I said, man, you can't hold him to a whopper, man. I said, you got to get that grip strength up. You got little hands. We got them hands stronger. So, and you see, that's the first time. He did that this past week. So this was new to him. And it's new for our quarterbacks, so this is something I want to implement this summer. So I want to show you some things that, we're starting to do that we've done in the past, and add to our program. And you see his face; he was a little shaking on that one. So kettlebell stuff, guys. I swing. I single arm swing. I double. I do a lot of stuff. You guys seen the swing. A couple things that we do maybe a little differently than most is I call it a ribbon or uppercut or. And we started doing this 2 weeks ago. We got the kettlebell. We didn't have kettlebells when I got here. We just got them, so we're going to add these things in here. This is something we've been doing for a number of years. This is the second day he's ever done them. Jack's in the back. Should be popping a little bit more. That's I think a 50-pound bell or a 70-pound bell. The one thing I like about it is when you do that movement, it's a lot of grip. Your D-line's really going to love it because they can rip. But the thing about it is, don't let them get outside the shoulder because they'll put a lot of stress on the shoulder. Make sure they come in elbow tight. They drop it, go between the legs. So as an athlete, those guys dribble basketballs all the time. They like doing that stuff. But the thing about it is, when you watch it, look how many times he squats. He squats more and bends more to get more. And the one thing he does do, he doesn't keep his heels down as much to put the force in. I want him to really pop that glute, squeeze through, drop it, and hit with the opposite hand. Don't go across his body, going to here, stop midline, going back between his legs, and really pop it. So it's a lot of core, it's a lot of grip, it's athleticism. You can also make that a movement. You can move it, so you just take a step, boom, come under, and rip it underneath. So you can make a movement out of it if you put them on a turf. You can enhance it a lot of different ways. Same way with the high pull. I don't have the high pull on here, but you can make that with your offensive lineman with the bells on the ground and step with that. So, and you can, they kind of get into it a little bit more because they see that it's more applicable than just stand on a platform. Now, we don't do these all the time. It's something we add after our cleans or our squats or something like that is accessory stuff. This is a clean to a front squat to a press to a reverse lunge. Now, my guys ain't ready for that right now. This was Justin Thomas up the street, and JT was a good lifter, fast, and our whole deal is our coach wanted him lighter. He didn't want him to get too heavy because he was fast, and so that's why he signed. He was offered by Alabama as a corner and Tech as a quarterback because he could run. And so we had to make sure we keep him fast. And so that was something that challenged him. It's a good movement. Right now, my guys, they're not ready for that movement. You saw what we're doing right now. We're going to progress to that with those guys down the road. Sledgehammer, you know, I've got some big tires I bring with me wherever I go. So I think the fourth place the tires have gone. But Dan, this is the first time Dan ever swung a 20-pound sledgehammer this week. And you can see where we're moving from down here. So so we're working the backside with a 20-pound sledgehammer. Now he's working the backside with, I think that's an 8-pound sledgehammer. And he's got to get better on the left side. He's not real good. I look for his hands to slide down, a little bit more technique. But I want to show you that, you know, we're not just showing you the best videos. We're just doing this stuff right now with him and stuff that we're going to continue to do with him and see him grow with it. The one thing I think he has done, he's more confident when he plays. I think he's spinning the ball better. I think he's more confident when he throws the ball, anticipating. He's throwing the ball across the field pretty good. And I think we just got to keep adding to that. All our guys have gotten a little bit better and more confident in what we're doing in the weight room with them. And that's what our objective is as coaches. Mace bell, this is something I enjoy using the mace bell. It's a change up. It's a humbling thing for some of these guys that are very athletic and are very confident. Again, he just did this week for the first time. This is, you call it two things. It's like I'll show it to you. He's going to bend, bell's outside his ankle. He's going to squat again, use his hips, kind of like a kettlebell swing, but the bell's on the outside. That bell weighs 24 pounds, mace bell. And you got grip with that. And we'll do both sides. Again, he's bending pretty good, extending through his hips, coming up, lowering it. His hands on the mace bell the whole time. Again, this is the first time the kid's ever done it, so he's pretty athletic with it. This is more of a side. Love for him to bend a little bit more. We kind of talk to him here, and he'll get down a little bit lower as he gets through it. The one thing we could always do is finish tall and turn that back leg. 10 minutes, okay? Turn that back hip. I'm about done. He'd like the more extension. He's kind of catching it with his knees bent. I'd like for him to more extend up through a little bit more. He's a little bit better on the back side. He's still got a little bit knee bend in him. But again, it's going to get his heart rate up. He's going to be, you know, it's core work. It's something that we can finish with at the end of a training session with him. And those offensive and defensive linemen can see him working a little bit differently than those guys out there pushing those prowlers. He's doing something a little bit different. He's going to hurt a little bit. And they have fun doing it. This one, I'll show you a different video. What we're trying to do here is take that. I'm kind of from the country in North Carolina, taking a pitchfork and throwing the hay in top of the hay, in top of that loft up there. And I want a little bit more rotation. So the next one should show a little bit better. This one is, this is Cutler back in the day when he came back from the NFL to train with us. Kind of did like a get up with him. There's a lot of shoulder stability. Just going down to the knee, coming back up. And obviously, the better he gets, the lower you can get on that mace bell, and you got to work a lot more control with that. So I think that one is a 34. Well, how much that weigh? 34 or 36 pounds, that heaviest one. The mace bell. Will, Brian, what did that mace bell weigh? 36. That's 36. Wake up back there, Will. So again, this is Jay doing the same one that he was doing earlier from the back, more of that rotation, throwing it in that, up in that loft. And you can see and that's Jay's, the backside of him doing the rotation. His eyes are on the ball falling up there, and so he's getting a little bit more rotation. You can tell he's done it a few more times with me than Dan has. This is the other side of it. Again, you see a little bit of knee bend, you're loading it up, and he's following through. And he's turning that back foot a little bit more than Dan was. We'll finish up right here a few more upper body pulling. I love to do a lot of towel stuff, grip stuff for these guys. And so this was very humbling for a lot of our guys on our team. We started doing some holds and stuff with them. And then again, this past week, we're finishing up. This Dan doing pull-ups with the towels, simple pull-up. We do ropes, towels, rope, and hanging those across. We tape those up there. But simple thing, but again, it translates to football. Any position, not just the quarterback position. Next one is we used a neutral grip bar this past week, and we added straps instead of using towels this time. It's a little thinner, but and then Will's holding this thing so it won't tilt on him or hurt him. But again, we're working a recline row. His feet are elevated with the straps, keeping his core, the backside engaged, posterior chain activated there. And again, as he gets better, we'll add a chain across his waist or on his chest or put a plate on there as he gets better at that. So we can always add it. We can make that grip thicker. We can add a thicker rope, a thicker towel, whatever, to kind of make that, enhance that a little bit more to get more out of that as he gets better at it. This was a one-arm row with rotation. They're throwing this way all the time, so we're going to work the backside a little bit more. And not just throw it around. Make sure they're working the rotation with that. So it was good. The first week was in there. These guys were doing it, working with me. And I think Corey or Will come with, hey guys, quit rotating with that. Well, Coach told us to do that, so that's good. They're looking for things to coach you on. They didn't know I told you that, so it's good for them. This is a video, if it plays, hope it does. Yeah, this is a video that we took a drill from John Gruden when one of our quarterbacks was in camp with the Buccaneers. I don't know if they still do it. They did Rich Gannon. That's how low it's been. But it's the balls are spread out across the field, and they're doing different drops. So this is Jay throwing the 5-step drop, and he's working back and forth across the field. And so he's working his drops. The receivers are moving, so he continually goes back and forth through this whole thing. I think we had 8 balls on the field that day. Our quarterback coach did this with him. He did a quarterback drill tape. I got the drill 5 minutes. I got the drill from them, and we kind of implemented it when they were doing their skill work. That guy's at the wrong point. He's got to get over there, and Jay had to wait on him. So we had to. So that's some things you can do with those guys to keep them not just dropping back all the time. He's getting tired now. We did a 3-step, 5-step, 7-step in one session. So I got to finish it up. Last one. This is some of this may play. This is a long video. This is Woodrow Dantzler 20 years ago at Clemson, and I was at Clemson. I had the guys that didn't like to lift weights. I had the quarterbacks, wide receivers, and DBs. So again, I kind of got the same haircut, look a little different, but Woodrow was a phenomenal player for us. He was a black belt, and he had a tremendous balance. He always had the high socks on. He's from Orangeburg, works at high school in South Carolina, but he was working at the YMCA on campus there and could only train at 5:30 in the afternoon. So he would come in the afternoon, me and him would go through the whole training session. He was dealing with everybody's kids in the Clemson area because they wanted to go Woodrow to babysit their kid at the YMCA. We dropped in there one day and every kid's screaming and yelling. I'm like, I don't know how you do this, man. And then he had to come over and train with me every afternoon. So to see how hard he works, and this video's got everything. We got ladders and bands, but it's a video. All my stuff I do in Apple, so this video I can't speed up. But the one thing we did at the end I really like, we go to the stadium, we do his conditioning. They won't probably let you use the game field for conditioning now, but back in the day we used the game field. And the last rep that we run, he does a basically a half gasser, goes 50 back, goes back 50. And I said, when you hit the 50-yard line going back, which would be 150 yards, you cut it across the field and you score inside the pile and run towards my truck. So I could pull my truck in the west end zone back in the day. And so that play he ran is also the play we won a game in overtime against NC State. So that same play, we replicated that somehow in our training. So it was pretty special day for us. So young man worked extremely hard. Again, he's the first kid to ever do 2,000. So I think I'm done. Thanks again. There's so many people, to you guys. Lastly, I think our head coach, Sean Elliott, who does a phenomenal job with our team, and our athletic director, Charlie Cobb, who has a vision for this place to do some great things. To have him involved in what we do has been immeasurable. So I'm excited to be here, excited for our kids to be in this facility. And we got a lot of work to do like everyone else does. I appreciate you guys' time. It's a beautiful day here in Atlanta, Georgia, and really across the world to spend time with us today. But to take time to drive down here, you'll be doing a lot of different things as coaches. And it means a lot to your athletes to take the time to do this. And you don't get a lot of days to do this, but I appreciate your time. If there's anything I can do for you, my staff, feel free to grab us. Again, I greatly appreciate the opportunity to stand before you today. And thank you so much. Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. I think that's a great question. What's the biggest thing my athletes have taught me? I think I learn a lot. I think I learn every day from them. Their different backgrounds that you think they all got it figured out, and to learn that they've got a lot of things going on outside this facility, and knowing that when they come in and listen to some other coaches talk about how they figure that out a little bit, it's helping them be successful. And Marcus Buggs was probably the best one for me when I was at Vanderbilt. Kind of taught me about some players that about a young man who didn't come from anything, right? And he, to him, he was already grown up. He was the man in the family. He represented the family. He didn't have anywhere to stay. He comes to college. He's got it figured out. So to come in the weight room and be told what to do now was hard to do. So I had to change the way I communicated with that young man. So I think my communication should probably change from when I was a younger coach to where I am now to understand, yes, there's a lot of things going on in a lot of people's minds that are 120 guys come in your room, and they represent a lot of different families and a lot of different neighborhoods and churches. And so you got to find ways to get those guys motivated. Everybody's not going to be motivated by yelling and screaming. It's going to take one of these one day. And, and I did that with one man before. I think you can yell and scream and you get it out of them, and sometimes you ignore them and they want your attention. If you quit, and sometimes you just say, hey man, how about we just walk down the hallway and just talk a little bit? What's really going on with you? Sometimes it takes that time for some young men to, you know what, this guy really does care about me. And I hope that's what our athletes we convey with them, is we do care about them. I want them to come here and tailgate with a nice Jaguar, or Range Rover, or F-150, or whatever, and bring their family here and know that we did everything for them at Georgia State to help them be successful. That's what my job is. I hope it's the NFL. I hope they're getting drafted today like all these other guys are. But if it doesn't, my job is want them to walk out wherever I'm at, that they have a great opportunity to know we did something for them. So, got a little wordy there at the end. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thanks so much, guys.